Hello and welcome back to the Module 3 of the Microsoft Outlook course. In this video, we will be looking at setting up appointments. The previous one we talked about calendars and the settings. So today we'll dig a little bit more into appointments and see how you also use the calendars for that. So we pull out the Microsoft Outlook application. And we're already in the calendar, but let's go back to the mail part and let's see. So we will have to wait for this to be okay, and then we can continue. The system seems a little bit slow. So basically we stay in our account, and what happens here is that we can come to calendar, but before we do that, there's something I want to say. So even while you are in this view without being in calendar, you can come to this under the home menu, and under your new, you can do new item and you can say appointment. Later on we'll talk about meetings and tasks. So if I click appointments, so appointments are basically something that I maybe made with someone that I just want to keep in my calendar as a reminder so that I can remember my appointments. It's like when you have a calendar on the wall and then you circle it and just write something just to remind you. So click appointment and it should bring up another window, and what you see here is that you can make a title. Let's say make a pie. So I have an appointment to make a pie with Juliet. So now I have to look at what date do I have that appointment. Let's say I have it on the 10th and it will end still no, so let's put let's start at a time, let's say 10 a.m. on the 10th, and then let's say 30 minutes interval, we can say 11 a.m. So we say make a pie, and you know, this can be an appointment, and this is just to remind me, right? So what I can do then is I can just say save and close. Okay, and then to see that I go to my calendar. Remember, I don't see it here at 10 because I'm still this week, but the appointment is for next week, so I go to next week and there you see it. Okay, so let's go back. Let's do the same thing again. Appointment. Let's make another appointment. And you can see football. And then what happens is that you can then set the time. Again, let's say on the 11th. And let's put it at 11 a.m. This time we're going to do football until, let's say, somewhere around 2 p.m. Okay, now I can do the same, and oh, I forgot, then you can also add location. You can then say Phillips Stadium, Eindhoven. Okay, and when you do that, you can simply say save and close. But one thing I want to also look at is you can decide that this is an important appointment and you can put it as high important. You can also do this with your email. When you type an email, you can indicate it as high importance. Another thing you can do is you can continuously let the meeting reoccur. So I can say, okay, recurrence, I want to be reminded every Tuesday, weekly, or you can say, well, weekly, every 2 weeks I go to football. and I want to be reminded, and it should end, maybe I want to end it somewhere in February, let's see, 25th, and let it start on the date that I choose. Sometimes you can say end after maybe 3 occurrence, or no date at all, it just continues in your calendar. But let's try out with this. And you can also say, well, if it's not only Tuesdays but maybe Fridays, you can include Friday. So, and you can set it up. It can also be monthly, it can also be daily, but it's up to you. So if I say okay, and I then put save and close, I can go to my calendar, and from next week, so you see that every Tuesday and Friday I have this appointment for football. If I go to the next week, it doesn't happen because I said every 2 weeks, weekly, but every 2 weeks. If I go to the next week, it's there. And if I go to the next 2 weeks, it's there. If I go to 1 week after, it's not there. And I come back to where it is. So this is how you make appointments. That is if you're in the email area. Now the downside is that, well, not really a downside, because sometimes if it's just an appointment for yourself, yeah, you can choose the dates you want. But sometimes if you really want to know what other appointments you have or meetings, and you don't want to choose a date that falls in those days, you can simply first go to your calendar. And let's say I come here and I say, oh, now I want to go to a party, but then I cannot go to the party yet. So the good thing is that I can still make appointment from within my calendar, instead of just doing it without looking at my calendar. So then I know for sure the dates that I'm occupied, and I can choose the dates that I want to go for party. So let's say I want to go for party on a Wednesday, sorry, on a Thursday, let's say 3 to 5. So I can select, that is click and drag. So I click and drag till 5, and I leave my mouse. And then I can say I want a new appointment for this date. Because you selected this first before clicking that, and let's see what happens. So it will automatically pick those dates and timing for you. And you just type in your title, party day. You can make it recurring if you want, if you can make it high or low importance if you want. If you don't want people to see the content when they view your calendar, you can make it private. This is also the same things with meetings. So with private, another person who looks at your calendar to make an appointment can see that it's blocked, but will not be able to see the content, exactly what you put in it. Like instead of saying party day, he just sees busy or something like that. And so this is how you use the appointment. There are other things here that says shows us busy or tentative. Let's say it's not confirmed, you can say tentative, and in case you get to that time 15 minutes to the appointment, it will send you a reminder. But if you want to know 30 minutes up front, you can set it to 30 minutes before the meeting, but by default it's 15. And then you get a reminder, like we saw in the flagging, which is setting a reminder to tell you, oh, in 15 minutes time you have this appointment. And then when you're done, you can save and close. By the way, you can invite attendees if you want, but because we're talking about appointments for yourself, you can just save and close. And there you see that the dash line here means it's tentative, which means it's applied, but you didn't confirm it. And these ones that are not tentative, which are busy, then you see that they are confirmed. And reoccurring, you will see the symbol here telling you it's reoccurring, and when you point to it also. So this is basically how you use appointments and how you can deal with it. So this brings us to the end of the appointment part. And maybe one more thing before we go is, let's try out one thing. So if we just want to put an appointment here, and let's make a new appointment, and let's say we call it playing around, and we want to invite someone. You can just say invite someone, and you can say, okay, can play around with this guy, F01, and I can send that appointment. Okay, you can say at home, and you send that appointment. So basically you set up an appointment, and you can send it to someone else, and then you can see this appointment shows that you've sent it to FOD1. And if you look at the calendar of FOD1, then you see that basically you see that now you see that you can still see the content of what you sent here, and that's because for FOD1 calendar, sometimes you can set this calendar that you cannot see everything by setting it private. So if we go back to this, let's try something else. Plain. We double click it to open it, and let's make it private. And we say send update. You might get another email alert, but doesn't matter. So undo the FOD1 and come in here. You still see that. But if we close this, and then that basically shows you how you can also share appointment with others. So in the next video we will talk about meetings, which is similar to this but more with inviting people or groups. Thank you.